special council meeting, emergency council meeting back to order. And I believe we had a request.
Yes, during the recess, I had a resident reach out and asked if they could, provide their comments via the telephone, so.
And, but I have John, our city clerk, that needs to say something first.
Yes, so Mayor, what you're talking about is, I do have a note for the record. We did receive 3 public comments for the warehouse in opposition, and those names to be read into the record are Catherine Watts, Tim Johns, Karen Sihanek, picture that a little bit. And then we also received 2 correspondences, one from an attorney group from Alan Matkins and Associates, who expressed concerns regarding noticing and other concerns regarding ongoing projects. We also received another correspondence from Bill Blankenship regarding their ongoing projects and or potential projects in the future. And so those were the short notes that I have for the council and the mayor.
So Mayor, if the council did want to receive additional public comments, the correct action would be to reopen the public hearing and have the individual on the line. You could receive those public comments, and then when you're done, you could close the public hearing again and proceed with council discussion.
I think so, reopen. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and reopen the public comments, and I believe we have someone on the line that will speak.
Thank you, Mayor.
10:25.
Now is the time for public comment. So if you are on the line for this public hearing, please raise your hand and I will unmute you and I will give you a few short moments. Mayor and council, I'm seeing no raised hands.
I think he's trying to find the number.
We'll briefly wait.
So is it via the YouTube that they speak?
Zoom.
Zoom.
The information for the Zoom call is on the agenda. It's actually a clickable link.
How long do we have to wait? I'll give them a couple minutes, and if we can't get them on, then we have to continue.
You're saying the Zoom link is invalid?
There's a Zoom link and then there's a webinar code. If you type in the meeting webinar ID and passcode, everything should click. I do see participants in the Zoom chat, but I don't see anyone raising their hand.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and continue the meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to, for deliberations for the council
It's 10:28.
at 10:28.
You want me to start?
Yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I apologize.
Okay. As I said earlier, I do want to thank everyone for coming out this morning and your input. Your input is extremely important. Your voices are extremely important to any project that comes before the city council. A little bit of history here. I was a member of the General Plan Advisory Committee back in 2009, 2010, before I got elected. And we spent over a year having meetings in establishing the general plan, the growth through 2030 for the city of Hemet. Warehouses were nowhere on our horizon at that point in time. We have, we looked at possible developments. We looked at creating streets. We have a lot of paper streets, as I call paper streets in our general plan, streets that haven't been built yet, roads that have not been built yet. It's a process that you not only look at from ground level, but also from the 30,000 foot level. No one anticipated at that time the type of growth from Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee, Paris, Maria Valley. Nobody anticipated the warehouses and the effect to the environment, to the economy that would come out into this area. We basically in this valley are a cul-de-sac. We don't have the major freeways, things that you all know and you all realize, and for probably good reasons why you bought here. It's a peaceful little valley. We have not been, discovered by the real world. And when we did, we had a lot of growing pains. We still have growing pains, and we have to deal with those, but we need citizen input to do that. So to get on to this one, again, that we received this sheet of paper this morning, which is a listing of the quote, warehouse developers in development stages. And off this full page, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I've got 10. 3 of the 10 don't apply because they're under the requirements that this emergency moratorium would put in place. They're under 35,000 square feet. There are 2 that actually came to the application period in 2024. Only 2. The rest of them have all been on the books since 2021, 2022, and 2023. So they've all been here in one form or the other, working through the process. And there is a process, and that process is clearly defined. This council has been known in the 4 years that most everybody except for me has been on council. I've been sitting up here now for 14 years. We've denied many projects, both residential, commercial, and industrial. Not only because of citizen involvement, because it wasn't a good fit for our community and what we want in our community. I know I've talked to some of you about a development that the community of Four Seasons blocked. Now that development was in the county. It was right behind them in Rampart Canyon. And our planning commission actually heard some of the information on it. The city took a position that it's in our sphere of influence. We don't, as a city, don't approve or like the project. Then it was up to the citizens of Four Seasons because it went to county planning. And I was just amazed. I went to the hearings because I just wanted to see government in action, government of the people. And each one of them took their 3 minutes and they got up and they talked, they gave statistics, and it was incredible. At that point, when they were all done, Planning Commission of Riverside County denied the project. At that point, the developer had the ability to appeal it to the County Board of Supervisors. So that entire process went through one more time. Four Seasons showed up, they gave their testimonies, they went through, and in the end, County Supervisor said, this is not a project that we are going to approve because of everything that the citizens have said. They don't want it, it does not look like a good project, it's denied. This council did the same thing with the housing project about 6 or 8 months ago on Park and Girard and Menlo. It was denied by Planning Commission, it was appealed to council, and we went through that same process and we heard testimony from the residents there and said, these are the conditions that we are going to impose on you. Now, both Planning Commission and Council can impose conditions on any development that comes before the City Council or the Planning Commission. Once we put those conditions on, that development withdrew their application because it didn't pencil for them, and that's basically what it boils down to. Does it pencil? Is it for the developer? We look at it, is it good for the community? How is it going to benefit? Are the areas that are negative, can they be mitigated in some other fashion? And that's what we're here for too. So to get onto this emergency moratorium, I will tell you, I'm against it. There is a process that both Planning Commission and City Council go through to approve individual processes and developments. This particular one, because of the length of time that most of these developments have been in the system, I think we open ourselves up to horrendous potential lawsuits. I am not in a position to vote in favor of any type of putting the city into a financial position of harming us. So with that said, you, as citizens, it comes down to you. It comes down to your involvement in processes that affect you and your community. Your voices are heard. We have heard loud and clear. There are good developments, there are poor developments, and then there are developments that should never have come forth, in the first place. So with that, I will just say I am against this emergency moratorium. I think there are better ways to handle this on a case-by-case basis, but also absolutely from a city perspective and from a council perspective, we need to take a step back and look at our general plan and the zoning areas and how they're laid out. And because of things that have happened in the developments, the type of developments that have happened in our community over the last 20 years, because it has been 20 years since we approved this general plan, things have changed. And we need to take that look, not only from ground level and the implications of the environment, of traffic, of air pollution, but also in the 30,000 foot level of that big traffic circulation plan and how we really want to be, because we're growing. I mean, we're 90,000 people. There was 35,000 when I moved here. So I've seen a lot of changes go through. Not all of them good. But when there's lack of community and lack of citizen involvement, that's when some of the poorer decisions get made. So I will leave it at that. I would ask you to stay involved. Get on the list so you get city council agendas. You don't have to come to all of them. But if there's something that piques your curiosity, listen in, become involved, and let's work through the process as a community and not have to do knee-jerk reactions of an emergency moratorium that will probably bring lawsuits against the city. Thank you.
Carol?
I want to start out by saying I'm not pro-warehouse, I'm not anti-warehouse, I am pro-smart development. I have been asking for the city to do a good neighbor policy, similar to what the county and many other jurisdictions have, that create development standards and requirements for these types of projects. I requested that on August 13th at City Council and also on September 10th. On September 10th, I also asked for updates regarding AB 98 and the impacts to the city and the projects coming forward. at those two meetings, I also requested that we look into doing a community benefit fee. All of the other jurisdictions surrounding here for these types of projects, there are community benefit fees. Sometimes it's based on the square footage. For instance, in my day job, it's $1 a square foot. Some of them have annual community benefit fees or one-time benefit fees that go to improving infrastructure and combating the impacts. This Excel table that we received this morning, it has 9 applications on there. 2 are preliminary review applications. They're not entitlements. Only 2 of those go to city council and 5 go to planning commission. But we have findings in our municipal code. Code section 90-41.5E3 is on change of zones, and that finding is that the proposed change of zone is substantially compatible with the adjacent zoning, established land uses, and or the planned development patterns in the city in terms of density, development standards, and character. The staff have to make these findings, and the hearing bodies have to adopt those findings. We, as the city council, only get to see 2 of those. For conditional use permits and site development reviews, there are similar findings. But for instance, the site development review, so that's section 90-48.5. C, the design, scale, height, and layout of the project is appropriate for the site and will not unreasonably interfere with the use and enjoyment of the neighboring, existing, or future developments, will not create traffic or pedestrian hazards, and will not otherwise have a negative impact on aesthetics, health, safety, and welfare of neighboring uses. Item D in that same section, the architectural design of the project is compatible with the character of the surrounding neighborhood and will enhance the visual character of the neighborhood through good aesthetics, use of materials, texture, and color. So we have the tools in our municipal code. Frankly, I believe that the planning commission should have been invited to this. They have been requesting a joint meeting with the city council to discuss warehouses. Most of these projects will just go to them for discussion and approval or denial. And just at the September 3rd meeting, Planning Commissioner Dana Hill had asked for an update, and he continually asks for updates on trying to get some kind of training regarding these warehouses, and that request was denied. So I believe that the Planning Commission should have been invited to this. I am concerned with the timing of this. There's a place for warehouses. It is not next to sensitive receptors. We have to look at everything on a case-by-case basis and evaluate that. We have to look at the studies. There are warehouses that do provide, if it's a fulfillment center, that provides sales tax revenue to the city. In my day job, that saved the city I work for. So it's trying to look at the tenants. We have industrial operations here in town, like Ramco. Those are highly skilled, highly paid jobs. So it's trying to look at the tenant, but again, keeping it away from sensitive receptors, understanding that we don't have the infrastructure, and how are we gonna get there, and where is the appropriate location for these types of warehouses. I also wanna point out that, some of these projects, it's said that they'll bring property tax revenue, but if they were annexed, after 81, 82, there's a master property tax sharing agreement that the county retains 75% of the property tax and the city gets 25. So, I have concerns about that. I want to make sure that any of these uses that come in are not burdening our existing taxpayers, so making sure that they are able to sustain themselves, or make the city whole. 25%, and if it's, just a warehouse and we're not getting any kind of sales tax, I'm concerned about the property tax. Again, I'm concerned about the timing of this, a couple weeks before the election. I don't appreciate, politics being brought into it. I don't appreciate, someone being called out as a Democrat in this crowd. This is a nonpartisan position. It's not about what party you're affiliated with. It's about what's doing right for the community. I would suggest that we continue this until December, until after the election. It shouldn't be used as a political tool. And let's see what happens in the elections and then revisit this. I am concerned about this being retroactive. The city, we are trying to avoid lawsuits. We do have concerns. We are self-insured, and I'm definitely concerned about that. These projects can go through the process, and there are findings that we can utilize and that the planning commission can utilize, but I think that there needs to be training for the planning commission. I think that the council needs to be provided with information on 8098 and look into doing this good neighbor policy and community benefit fee. So I can't support it as it is. I believe that it should be continued till December, when we have concluded the elections and the new council will be seated. This is a very serious issue, and it's an issue throughout Riverside County. As mentioned in 8098, we're not a city listed on there, but we're subject to it. It is very, very restrictive, and so I appreciate that, but I've been asking, and the planning commission's been asking, and nothing's occurred until today. So I'm just very concerned about the timing. That's all I have to say.
Mayor, thank you for putting this on the agenda. I share the same sentiments as Councilmember Kendrick. I had a conversation with MSJC about what would happen if we brought in higher paying jobs here. And quite frankly, MSJC's report is hemet's not ready for it, because we don't have a lot of people with masters and bachelor's degrees that would be able to fill those jobs. Our demographic is more at a lower skill level, and it would be prudent for us to, especially with these younger folks that are becoming homeless very quickly out of Hemet Unified, that we give them a leg up as far as jobs is concerned. So I understand that it's a low paying job that you're saying, but some of these families out here that I've spoken to have talked about, I'm tired of driving to Paris, I'm tired of driving to Moreno Valley and being stuck in traffic in the morning and then in the evening when we're coming home. And I'd like to spend my $600 to $1,000 in gas money in the city of Hemet rather than just using it just to get to work. And then some of them are saying that extra savings would help them pay for childcare, and they just kept going on and on. I'm gonna second and encourage the council that maybe that was a motion from her, and I will second her. But what I'm expecting, because another thing is, it's not even guaranteed that 3 of us are gonna be here after December. So I would rather leave it up to the new people, if that happens, for them to move this forward, instead of me making a decision and then putting them instead of just putting it on them. So what I'm gonna ask for is all of the findings that the attorney put in the staff report to include, I need a study on, and it's not just for me, it's for the new people that could potentially be here. I want a study on traffic congestion, I want the environment, I want all of these people's reports that they talked about air quality, I want that confirmed. The public health consideration, the land use capability. I want the actual number, approximately the actual number of trucks in and out, hours of operation. I want the actual number of jobs, the direct results to citizens when we're talking about if there's property tax to be had. I'm thinking in terms of these people that save on money on gas, what could that potentially look like as far as sales tax? And the comparative, I want a comparative study on, I'm gonna think we have like 6,000 houses coming here, potentially 2 vehicles per household, the amount of smog that they could bring versus the amount of smog that the trucks would bring. And then the total number of warehouses that could just fit in here, because at this point, I don't even know, we keep saying no more warehouses, we don't even have any more space, so if this happens, that's it. And then I want someone to tell us how it's gonna be detrimental to their property values. I need a finding on that, as well as trading on AB 98, and I think that would set up the next people that could potentially be here in a way better shape than it's been for us.
Okay, so we do need better economy in Hemet. We have so many people that travel so many miles to find a decent job. With the oncoming of the EVs, there's a proposed vehicle miles traveled. So these people that are driving out of our town to find a job, in the near future, they may be taxed to drive to get to a lower paying job out of the city. So I would like to see some of those people be able to find a job comparable. Like Malcolm said, you know, they may not find a super duper high paying job, but why would we make them travel miles and miles and get taxed to go out of town for a lower paying job when they could find one here? I know there's like square footage that we talked about, and I know you don't want a monstrosity right next to your development. I wouldn't want that either. And as it was said, you know, you can put parameters, you can put conditions on these for the developers. You can ask for a certain setback, you can ask for hours of operation before it's approved. So there's conditions that we can ask for and get approved. And as it was said, you know, most of this goes to the planning commission first. So if they see those up front, they have the decision to make, and hopefully we can all agree with their decision, because we want the best for you. We have to watch our budget. You know, we just, in 2016, our city was virtually a thread from being bankrupt. We've come back a long way from that. We have a nice reserve now, but our insurance went up this last year tremendously. And we have to watch out for litigation things that may come up in the near future. We have a few pending right now that we're concerned about. So, you know, they've said a lot already, and I agree with a lot that they've said. We do hear you, and we appreciate you coming, and I just think that these should be more on a case-by-case basis, rather than just, you know, putting it out there, flat out, no warehouses. You know, we need to fill in some of our empty buildings, we need to fill our empty spaces. We've got so much possibility in this city for growth of good economy. And I just hope that we get some better businesses in here. I think we're headed in the right direction with that now. We're doing some positive things in the city. We're trying to revitalize the downtown and get more tourism. So we want more businesses, and if we revitalize the downtown, and, you know, we have Diamond Valley Lake, we've got Hemet Lake, we've got hiking trails, we've got all kinds of things, and we wanna draw those people in. So we don't want a warehouse city either, really, you know. We wanna make it, amicable for everybody here. The younger families, the senior citizens. So I just wanna say that, I think that we need to do it on a case-by-case basis, and, your input will be heard, and we are listening to you, and we know how you feel. And we do represent you, and I've been saying that all along. You know, we were voted in by you, and we represent you. So hopefully, we can come to an agreement and get some economic growth without ruining the atmosphere and the quality of life here. So, thank you.
Well, I already spoke, but I'll add a couple of comments at the end here. I hear you, and this reminds me of when they tried to put a mental health institute in here, and it started off with 200 beds, and 3, then 4, then 500 beds, and we were told it wasn't gonna happen, and that they were gonna put it in no matter what, and they were the county, they had the money to put this building in. And we fought it, and we won. So all I can do is tell you, this has to be a 4/5 vote. It doesn't look like we're gonna get the vote. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I just I implore you to keep fighting. And I personally listen. I'm not gonna be the SOB that my parents talked about, because I think we should listen to our constituents. We should listen to the citizens. And so, what's the word? So do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue this item to the first meeting in December.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Kendrick to continue this item to the first meeting in December, second by Councilmember Lilienthal. We're gonna do a roll call. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes?
Mayor Males.
No.
That motion passes 4-1 to continue the item to the first meeting in December.
There being
Point
no
of-
further- I'm sorry?
Point of information.
I'm sorry?
I'm asking for a point of information. In that motion, does that include all of the language that we said?
So the motion didn't, it continued the item to December, but I saw the city manager keeping track of the information that you were requesting, so
I will.
if the council would like to direct additional information and have that part of the record, you can do that.
We need this information. We need the traffic congestion, environmental impacts, pretty much all 8 of what you have in your staff report, the actual numbers of trucks, in and out, the hours of operation, the actual numbers of jobs, a comparative study between regular vehicles and trucks, whose gas is cleaner, total number of warehouses, and if we are at capacity, surrounding home values, will they depreciate, they go down, go up, what does that look like for them? Some training on AB 98, even if it's on Zoom. And a joint city council meeting with the planning commission. maybe that doesn't happen before, but that needs to happen.
I'll amend my motion to include everything that Councilmember Lilienthal stated.
You're the second, Lowenthal, so we're gonna do a roll call. Councilmember Kendrick,
Yes.
Councilmember Krupa,
Yes.
Councilmember Lilienthal,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Males.
No.
That motion passes 4-1.
There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned to the next city council meeting on October 22nd, 2024. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Ken, if you guys haven't, and